Hey guys, how you going? Hey guys, you worried about the effects of 5G radiation? Well, let me introduce you to the affiliate of this video. They're called EMF Harmonized, and they filter out the harmful RF waves that actually damage our DNA. Kids are also more susceptible to the RF waves than adults are, and what they do is EMFs clump together red blood cells and cause lots of problems. This technology prevents that. And as you can see, they have products for your phone, your tablet and your computer, as well as your body. You can actually buy these for your body. So if you'd like to help a fellow truther and help me out as well, please check out the affiliate link down below. They also actually have a video showing you the red blood cells, how they clump together with 5G radiation, and how this technology protects you from that. Okay guys, if you're interested, check out the affiliate link below. Thanks guys. Hey guys, before I start, I'd like to thank Charlotte and Michael. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you to all my PayPals and Patreons and everyone for just listening. By the way, there are videos going up on Patreon. The first one's uploaded of me doing aerobics, and it's quite funny actually. Okay, today we're going to talk about beeping cars, and cars with, you know, the horns that when you turn your alarm on or lock your car, it beeps twice or however many times it beeps. And those little annoying beeps inside the car, like if you don't put your seatbelt on fast enough, you know, that type of thing. Okay, I recently noticed that today's cars sure beep at you a lot. There's one for not moving quickly enough on the seatbelt, there you go. One for accepting the legalese on the GPS. One for getting too close to another car. One for leaving the lights on. And if you own a Toyota Prius, it beeps at you when you back up as well. But just think about what your car's beeps and squawks do to other people, adding to the general cacophony of modern American life. And it's a serious health issue too, because noise pollution increases your risk of a heart attack. Polar bears don't like it either. Well, some people under the banner of Noise-Free America decided to fight back, specifically about the numerous auto functions that sound the horn for the most mundane operation, like telling you the car is locked. It's ridiculous and completely unnecessary it's an audio assault, said Ted Reuter, the director of Noise-Free America. We're under attack every time we're in a parking lot. The constant beeping startles me and gives me a headache that lasts for the rest of the day. According to Reuter, cars used to do their thing quietly, but 5 to 10 years ago, automakers started to go horn happy. You got a nice little click when the door locked, but now they try and make door locking and alarm arming confirmation as loud as possible. Stand in a lot for any period of time and you're going to hear one of these things every 2 minutes. Gordon Novak owns a Chevy Volt, and his complaint is that it honks to let him know that charging has started, honks again when the charger is disconnected, and twice if charging is delayed. Issues with the ignition key will cause the horn to sound 3 times. Novak worries that his night charging sessions will disturb his neighbours and add noise to the otherwise pristine environment at our mountain cabin. Novak says the horn sounds can't be disabled as that Prius backup alarm can. He's an electrical engineer but worries that tampering with the circuitry will void his warranty. Pleas aimed at GM have fallen on deaf ears. Maybe they can't hear because of all the horns going off. Or their cars are beeping at them too much and they can't hear a phone. This is an audio assault. It really is. A Ford Focus owner complains that if he leaves his car running with the intelligent access key inside, as say when he's warming up and cleaning snow and ice, it honks twice when he shuts the door, twice more when he opens the door back up to get his snow brush, and twice more when he closes the door. The incessant honking wakes my neighbours in the morning, he said. Jeannie Botter, a New Yorker, is a member of the Right to Quiet Society. You'd think she'd be used to a lot of noise, but she says regular city street noise isn't annoying as all those early morning, late night arming alarms. Botter has gotten way into this. She says some car makers have seen the light and have switched to an innocuous chirp for functions that use the horn. Nah, the chirp, it's as bad, I'm telling you now. Hyundai has transitioned 12 or 14 models, she said. Toyota used the horn, then switched to an electronic chirp in 2000. Subaru did the same thing. Lexus's chirp and the Nissan Rogue makes a noise that doesn't bother me at all. Botter knows that silent electric cars use man-made sounds to alert blind people and other pedestrians to their presence, but she'd be disappointed if they used the horn for that purpose. The Nissan's Leaf's low-speed noise doesn't bother me, she said. It should sound like a quiet car. Dr. Cullen Ruff, an associate professor at the Virginia Commonwealth School of Medicine in Fairfax, Virginia, is taking part with Botter in a letter-writing campaign to automakers and even paid for an online public service investment going after the use of horns for routine functions. That led to Noise Free America's Silence the Horns campaign. Horn alerts are something we can control and would rather live without, Dr. Ruff said. The campaign wants nothing less than the elimination of horn sounds in acoustic vehicle alerts. Can't cars just flash the lights to let us know they got our remote signal? Works for me. And then I found something really funny. Okay. This is written by Rachel White, and I'll put the links down below of these two articles that I found, and I've also got a bit to say on this because my car beeps if I put my shopping on the passenger seat. There should be a weight limit. I mean, we are not allowed to let our children sit in the front seat until they are 10 years old. Okay, what would the lightest 10-year-old weigh, do you think? Because my bag with 2 litres of milk on it shouldn't set that alarm off, but it does. My handbag will set the passenger alarm off. Not only that, if I leave my lights on, it will beep at me. It will just beep. It doesn't stop, okay? Drives you crazy. And if your keys are in the ignition and you need to open the door, maybe to step out and have a cigarette, but keep an eye on the kids at the same time, then it will beep at you until you pull those keys out of the car. So you can't have your radio on. No, not allowed. So let's read this one. 20 most annoying car features. And this made me laugh. So hopefully we have a bit of fun with this. The rapid advancement in technology has resulted in many features in the modern automobile that are useful and helpful, some even extravagant, for drivers and passengers alike. But on the flip side of that, there are also some auto inventions that are just downright frustrating. Here's our list of the 20 most annoying car features. Auto stop-start systems. Known as the great fuel and environmental saver, the auto stop-start system might be a play for manufacturers to attain more efficient emission and fuel figures than actually providing an improved experience for the driver. The system automatically switches your car's engine off whenever you come to a complete halt at traffic lights, stop signs, or when sitting stationary in traffic. What could possibly go wrong? This raises some concerns about the level of damage inflicted on your engine due to constant stopping and starting, as every time you take your foot off the brake, the engine starts up again. There are questions regarding the extra friction endured by the engine and ignition components, which can become rather excessive if and when the vehicle is battling congested traffic, as the driver is constantly engaging the brake under these conditions. An engine could be stopping and starting 100 times by the time it clears the traffic block. Some auto stop-start systems can also be a bit rough and not stop and start smoothly, causing a slight lag at takeoff. So the jury's out, with the majority of motorists finding this feature more annoying than worthwhile for now. Give it another 5 years and we may just take this feature for granted, embracing it and viewing it as improved technology. However, we're definitely not there as yet. And I don't think we're going. This is designed to drive people insane. I swear. It's the same with these new lights, light bulbs and street lights and all these LEDs. They are not good for you. Okay, number 2, non-adjustable steering wheels. Here's a scenario. You'll find a great car that suits all of your needs and looks good, comfortable seats, has all the bells and whistles. You're uber happy, then you realise you can't adjust the steering wheel. Unfortunately, we're not all the same height or weight and we all have different driving styles. We're supposed to assume the correct driving position, yet some manufacturers don't allow us to do so. A non-adjustable steering wheel is not only annoying, it can make driving more dangerous and result in less comfortable travels. This is of the bigger bugbearers for drivers. Let's hope you discovered the issue before you purchased your car, as you may have a hard time selling it. Most people would expect adjustable steering wheels on all new cars, but that's not always the case, so make sure you do your homework. Poor reversing cameras, which is number 3. You may be wondering how reversing cameras made it to our most annoying list. Well, as it turns out, most of us think we should be able to see what's directly behind our vehicle without moving our heads. So reversing cameras are supposed to aid us in seeing behind the car like a second set of eyes, watching for things we can't ordinarily see when we look over our shoulder. But poor visual displays are the problem, with diagrams that cover the screen. Poor general visibility or vague fuzzy images make it difficult to see or identify what is actually behind the car. Most drivers will rely on the beeping sounds over actually knowing what they're looking at on the screen. If there was no beeping noise, could we still navigate in reverse as effectively? It's always best to take a look over your shoulders for any obvious obstacles. And it makes you wonder what on earth we did in the 70s and the 80s and 90s before all this beeping and cameras came in. Number 4, they only put these things on the news like they keep putting little spurts of certain things out, like children being hit by cars in the driveway. You'll hear a lot of them at one point when they want to change something, and this is the result of it. Okay, number 4, voice control systems. Voice control systems have never really worked as phone answering systems, yet for some reason at some point car manufacturers thought the idea of voice control systems in vehicles would be a great idea. Because navigating traffic with the radio turned up and all the kids fighting in the back seat isn't frustrating enough without adding a voice control system that can't interpret a word you're saying. Let's just say someone wasn't thinking so clearly when they decided to install voice control into vehicles. I could imagine. I was trying to do one the other day on the phone, and they did not. No, actually, it was my own mobile phone, speech to text. And I was laughing when I read the text because everything I had said came out completely different in Google Text. So there you go. Or in the interpretation, yeah. Maybe it can't identify the Australian accent, maybe. Some systems can be great and fun to use, but others are just a waste of time, and if you can't work around the voice controls to utilise the function you want, it can be a very infuriating experience. Oversized key fobs. Gone are the days of the car keys. Instead, we have fobs that unlock your door and start your car without having to get the fob out of your pocket, unless your clothes don't have any pockets. And if you're not in the habit of lugging around a handbag or satchel wherever you go, keeping it close at hand inside the car, these fobs can be annoying. The sheer size of these devices make them difficult to easily pop somewhere without you being weighed down or having a bulging pocket. And it still doesn't make them any harder to lose. Not a good look for some fashionistas out there and purely inconvenient for the rest of us. I'd say that what they're talking about is the key compact thing that you put the key goes into when you fold it. That thing. Yeah. Okay, number 6, touchscreen dependent controls. These days we have so many great gadgets that do so many things, but the majority of us still like to be able to turn or push something to utilise or activate a function. Like me. I'm an old fart and I just can't be bothered with all this new fandangle stuff. Anyway, anything that with touch screens instead of a button or a knob just doesn't cut the mustard. If we want to adjust the air conditioner, demist the heater, or change the radio channel, give us a dial or button over a touchscreen any day. We have better things to do than make sure we hit the exact position on a picture within a screen in a moving vehicle to get the desired result. Because looking at a screen and taking your eyes off the road when you can just feel for a knob, you know, it's there, you can feel it, okay? On a touch screen, you actually have to look at the screen to make sure that you're hitting the right part of the screen, which means taking your eyes off the road. Now, I honestly thought that car manufacturers had safety in mind when they were doing these things, but obviously not. Okay, some technological functions just don't hit the mark, and touch-sensitive controls are one of those. Okay, number 7 is small side mirrors. Those petite little mirrors that don't make your car look like Mickey Mouse heading down the road may be discreet, but they're disliked by many. If safety features are high on your priority list, then you probably don't want to increase the risk of blind spots by purchasing a car with small mirrors. Small mirrors result in a higher incidence of annoying other drivers as you pull across into them because you can't see them. Not ideal. Small mirrors aren't great for safe driving or the avoidance of unnecessary accidents. Unless they come with side avoidance technology, small side mirrors get a thumbs down. Number 8, lack of center control storage. All we want is storage, and all at our fingertips. We know they're not good for hiding valuables, but how else can we dump all the things we cart around everywhere and need close at hand if there's no storage in the center console? If you own a car, it must have some room in the center console, otherwise you'll be lost as to what to do with everything. The glove box is no good, it's too far away and too big. If you put something in there, you'll never find it again. Some of the cheaper small cars on the market don't have a center console, which is not seen favourably by drivers at all. I like those center consoles. I think you need a center console. And when I get into a car without one, it's very strange now. Okay, number 9, noisy driver assistance. Here we go. Some of the loud, beeping driver assistance warning noises could be up there on the list of extreme torture choices. I'd say that's deliberate. They really are torture devices. Parking assist, lane drifting and blind spot monitoring are all technologies that are meant to make our lives better and increase our safety on the road. They're great if the systems use lights to advise us of potential problem. However, the majority use annoying beeps, dings and bells to warn us. This feature may be a novelty for the first few drives, but then become increasingly annoying over time, to the point you don't even react to them anymore or just want to rip the feature out of your car. Light bulb moment. No, I won't be ripping it out of my car, but I might just take it back to the actual manufacturer and say, can you please disable these beeps? I hate them. I really, really do. God help me if I ever need to buy a new car, because I don't think they sell them without the beeping and the... Let me know, guys, in the comments down below, do they still sell cars that do not beep at you? Or have that beep beep when you lock your car when the alarms go and the whole neighbourhood can hear it? Okay, number 10, square cup holders. What? If you've been fortunate enough to visit Fiji, you've probably noticed that Fiji Water makes square water bottles. They're obviously more advanced than the rest of the world and knew that most car cup holders were going to be made square. For whatever reason, a number of vehicle manufacturers made a decision that square was the go. Because why would anyone want to have a round cup holder? Okay, number 11, non-opening rear windows. I used to have a car with that. A hatch. You get relinquished to the back seat of a small car on a hot day and you think, I'll just crack the window. There is a window there. You can see out of it. But there's not a window down button or even a manual window winder in sight. After being laughed at by the driver, you come to the realisation you're stuck in the back, knees around your neck, sweltering in the heat, and that window is a fake. Non-opening windows are the sort that only pop open a slit to the side are a major disappointment to most folks, and I'd say there are probably some dissatisfied dogs out there as well. Definitely. Okay, number 12, confusing gear shifters. Well, you'd think that a simple concept like an automatic transmission is pretty straightforward, right? You just chuck it into drive to move forward, reverse to go backwards, and park when you want to park. The auto on the floor, as it was once known, may become a thing of the past, as manufacturers now place the auto gear shift wherever they like. Manufacturers seem to think that automatic drivers are missing out and want to make things more interesting, with some versions a push-button system when you want to park. In other vehicle models, you shift gears by pushing a button on the console, with no such thing as a lever to physically move anymore. Some car makers are even reverting back to the old stalk shift varieties. Ooh. Some cars require a degree to understand how to get from the garage to the road. With so many variations on the market, the old premise of getting an automatic driver's license because they're easier to drive could end up being quite the opposite and more challenging than driving a manual. I would prefer a manual car, but I am in automatic right now. I don't like them. I like the control of each gear. Number 13, space saver, spare wheel. I can't say I'm surprised about this one being in here. Space saver spare wheels have been around for ages and yet we still hate them. They stick out like a sore thumb, are narrow and usually a different height to the other wheels on your car, and you can't drive on them over 80 kilometres an hour for an extended amount of time. They may save you room in the boot, but when you really need something to get you out of trouble, there's nothing more reassuring than a regular wheel and tyre. Yes, because they're trying to save space now. They've made your spare wheel one that you can only get to probably the next service station, petrol station. You know, you have to get it changed. And petrol stations in Australia, at least, no longer do car repairs. Not all of them. So you may have to travel further than just the next petrol station to get your car fixed. Okay, number 14, inaccurate satellite navigation. Oh, this one's a good one because apparently there was a truck driver in Australia whose sat-nav took him out into the middle of nowhere and he nearly died dehydrated. He dehydrated but nearly died. Luckily, I don't know how, someone found him. But anyway, because there was no mobile phone reception, there was nothing out there, and the sat-nav also just took him on a road that he actually had a feeling that it wasn't the right way. And it wasn't, because it left him out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, sat-nav is great for getting you where you want to go without having to think about it. Give me an old street directory any day, guys. It all works fine as long as it's up to date and accurate. Try using a system that is inaccurate and out of date and you'll find yourself scrambling for your phone to look for a more accurate option. Roads are changing all the time, so you want to update your sat-nav regularly to avoid travelling up one-way streets the wrong way or missing exits because they have now moved. I believe that's another thing to keep people. A constant state of change will start to drive you crazy. when roads change all the time, because they're changing all of our roads. They're nearly working on nearly every road you go down these days, except for the streets the houses are on, because they don't want to fix them at all. But they'll do all the main roads, you know. So even if they don't need it. And they take years to do them. So yeah, give me an old street directory and give me back the quiet roads of the 70s and 80s and I'll be happy. Oh, it's never going to happen, is it, guys? Okay. Number 15, I'm not really crying. 15, blank switches. Finding blank switch, oh, I've got these, in your vehicle conveys the fact you obviously don't have the full accessorized version of your vehicle. Manufacturers will create one template for a model and add the extras depending on which version they are going to produce. So you can end up with what looks like a fake blank switches or spaces that don't serve any purpose other than to remind you that a more top-of-the-range version out there has something in that space that actually does serve a purpose. Yes, that just reminds you you've got the cheaper version. Okay, number 16, off-centre speedo. What? Yes, some cheaper vehicle models out there have a speedo in the centre of the dash. This is to reduce costs when they export internationally. Wait, the centre of the dash? You are kidding. That means you've got to look over to see the speedo instead of just looking in front of you. You have to look over to the side. There you go, taking your eyes off the road again. They're intentionally doing this. They really, really do want us to have car accidents. And I believe that's why they also, remember when they changed the design of cars from the old, big, strong metal cars to these ones that collapse in on themselves, you know? There's a reason for that. And it was not for our own good, and it does not help us with injury. It helps the firewall to come down on your foot if some four-wheel drive runs over the bonnet of your little tiny car. That's what it does. Okay, let's talk about this off-centre speedo. Okay, if the speedo is centrally located on the dash, there's no need to change the dash of the vehicle to suit countries that drive on the opposite side of the road. No, but it would make it easier to have a car accident because you're too busy looking over, trying to, if you're like me, I'm blind as a bat. I'd be trying to, is that 60 or 80? Oh, sometimes you come across a car designer that had a radical idea to change the location of the speedo, being positioned directly in front of the driver, behind the steering wheel, and place it somewhere unconventional. So when you're sitting in the driver's seat, you have to look away from the centre of the instrument panel to know how fast you're driving. This is not only inconvenient, having to move your direct eye line also isn't ideal for comfort or safety purposes. Okay, number 17, brake pedal dead zones. Manufacturers like to create these great systems that they think we want, like brakes that don't actually do anything until you're forcing your foot through the floor. Apparently when we place our foot on the brake, we don't really want to slow down just yet. It's not until we get to the bugger, I'm not slowing down, is this thing going to stop stage, that we're really serious. As every car is different, you can sometimes end up in a bit of a strife when you almost run into something because you didn't place enough pressure on the brakes. And when you do, your startled passengers go flying forward around the car. Brake dead zones are not only frustrating, they can be hazardous. Yeah, that's the spongy, you know, the spongy, some brakes, you touch them and they'll nearly throw you through, if you're not used to it, you'll nearly get thrown through the window because they're so good, they're so touchy. And other brakes, you nearly do have to push the pedal through the floor to get them to stop. Number 18, hidden or no USB port. Well, you know it's there. A salesperson at the dealership told you there was one in the centre console. Finding the elusive USB port can send you nutty if you haven't been shown exactly where it is. USB ports can be located in armrests, glove box, centre consoles, and who knows where else they decide to put them. Not only are they in different positions on different vehicles, sometimes they're hidden just in case someone breaks into your car and decides to charge their phone while they're stealing your loose change. It may be quicker to read your driver's manual to locate your USB port. You could find out that the manufacturers of your vehicle didn't feel a need to fit your car with one at all. Number 19, stereo tuning buttons. It's a very specific problem, but really annoying for so many. If you want to tune into a radio station, a dial or knob is needed. Pushing a button that only goes up in certain increments for each push is not going to do the job. Bring back the knob so we can get the exact station without having to pull over to the side of the road, yelling expletives at our stereo. Pushing buttons are out for tuning. Number 20, car alarms. These days, no one even notices when a car alarm goes off. We're mostly desensitised when it comes to alarms, so they probably don't even annoy us anymore, unless they don't turn off within 10 seconds. I've had this with house alarms too. We used to have a neighbour's house and the alarm used to go off, sometimes all day. Sometimes it would go off for a couple of hours, stop and start again. So you end up tuning them out. Anyway, then it gets annoying. More irritating are those vehicles which have alarms that make an infuriating beeping noise every time the vehicle is locked and unlocked. Injuring one of these annoying features might be okay, but if you're suffering through multiple infuriating moments in your driving day, it might be time to buy a new car. A new old car maybe, but if I'm serious, if I had to ever buy a new car, I think I'd have trouble finding one, because I'd have to ask them specifically for one without the beeps. I don't want cameras either. I don't want... A car is a machine to get you from A to B. All this extra stuff is not needed. The only good thing that came out of the technology, I believe, with cars were automatic windows. The button, instead of the actual winder. But even the winders were fine. Why do people insist on having to change things? There's a reason why cars stay the same for so long. And that's because it worked. And if you were silly enough to not do your seatbelt up, you would either get pulled over by the police, or if you had an accident, you'd be in big trouble, or you'd make it to the other destination. If you were silly enough to leave your lights on, you'd learn because the battery would be flat by the morning, and you would learn not to do that again. It seems that the powers that be think we are dumb, or they want to make us dumb. And so we have all this new technology in our cars, which is really not needed. And even there's stories about people who have the cars with the changing lane, going out of your lane or getting too close to other cars, and the things don't stop beeping. That's enough to drive anyone crazy. If the car manufacturers are trying to make driving stress-free or less stressful, they're not doing a very good job of it at all. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there for today. Let me know your opinion on this down below. I wanted to do something different. And because I read this earlier and I was having a laugh over it, I thought I'd bring it to you and see what you guys think. Do you think sometimes technology goes too far with things like, maybe it's not the technology, it's the car manufacturers. Do you think they've gone too far with this technology in their cars? Do you prefer the old cars compared to the new cars? Do you prefer the old steel cars compared to these new cars that crumple in on themselves? Do you think they're stronger or do you think they're better? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, guys. I look forward to reading your comments on this one. In the meantime, I'm going to leave it there for today. Have a good morning, afternoon or evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, guys. Bye.